Welcome in A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studio here on this Wednesday night, the last night of April. That means that tomorrow is the first day of May, and that means that the second day of May is Friday, where we will have Brian Callahan in the house, where we will have Greg Cosell, Greg flying in from NFL Films tomorrow, and we are going to have the install live for you here in downtown Nashville. I couldn't be more excited about it. But tonight we're going to talk about the way that one ESPN analyst is absolutely glowing about the Titans 2025 draft class and how much value they got out of the picks that they were able to, one, go in with, and two, create throughout the course of the draft process. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about Treylon Burks. We'll get to a little rising and falling at the end of the show. William Jones says, Buck, quit watching the Rockets and Warriors game and start the goddamn show. Well, it's a terrible game right now, 49-24. With about 9 minutes to play in the second quarter, and it is an ass whipping for Houston, or by Houston at home. Golden State is trailing by a significant amount, by 25 points at this point. So I wish it was a better game. Golden State up 3-1 in the series, so it seems like Houston, provided that they can hang on and Steph Curry doesn't go supersonic, it seems that Houston will at least be able to crawl back into this series. But the NBA playoffs are not what we're here to talk about tonight. We are here to discuss a great many value plays that you were able to add in the NFL draft and the analysis of them that is going to make you feel good about what you were able to do if you didn't already feel good about the circumstance that the Titans were able to come out of the 2025 NFL draft with. So we'll dive into that together. Need you guys to share the broadcast around Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. If you are so inclined, we would be happy to have you. Text the link to a friend if you're hanging out with us on any of those digital media platforms and want to get another Titans fan friend involved. Like the video if you're hanging out on YouTube. Ann Herndon says, I take my nursing school finals tomorrow morning. I should be studying, but I'm here. Well, Ann, I wish you all the luck in the world on your nursing school finals. I hope you crush it. I know that you will. I wish that you were not wasting your time here as opposed to studying for your finals, but we'll try to make it worth your while at this point. Vernon says, hey, Buck, I have my Home Street Home receipt. I DM those to me on Instagram for you guys who want to ask questions of Brian Callahan. If you want to participate in the install, like I said, we're going to prioritize those of you who are donating to Home Street Home, who want to ask questions of the head coach. And if you can't get him in for the head coach, then we will definitely let you ask Greg some questions, because both of them are going to be very capable of breaking down the questions and giving you the answer that you need. In fact, I just printed off the 2025 draft evals. This is Cam Ward that you're looking at right now. Look at that. That's 2 pages, damn near 2 pages. Yeah, it's, a page and a third or a page and a quarter of Cam Ward analysis. And the rest of these are the rest of your 2025 Titans draft class. We're going to have these for you at the table. You're going to get your own draft guide, your own Titans draft guide, your personalized Titans draft class guide when you come to the live show. Callahan, I was just texting him today, as a matter of fact. He's sending me plays that he wants specifically to break down, as well as the plays that Greg has sent me. So it's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be a great time, and we're looking forward to having 250 of you guys in the house. There are just a few tickets left online, 1045thezone.com. We would love for it to be a third sellout in a row. Even if, nobody else bought tickets today, I'd be very happy with the amount of tickets that we were able to sell, and as a result, help raise money for charity for Home Street Home. So we're very happy about that. But we'd love a sellout. We always like a sellout. So go to 1045 The Zone. You can get those. I think there's about 30-something tickets left remaining, or at least there was as of this morning. So hopefully there are still some for you if you would like to purchase those and be a part of the live show on Friday night. You could even have your live question, end up on the podcast when we put it up on YouTube and in the podcast feed after the fact. So enough yapping about the install. Let's go ahead and dive into tonight's program. Let's talk about the upside that one NFL ESPN draft analyst thinks that you have in spades at this point in time. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by VIP Play, the new VIP Play app coming your way in the not-too-distant future where the world comes to play VIP Play. We will tell you more about how you can get in on the action early before the app even is in the App Store. Bart Durham Injury Law. You deserve to be paid if you are experiencing any level of personal injury or have sustained an injury due to an automobile accident. BartDurham.com is there for you. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and employee pricing for everyone right now in Mount Juliet, where they are located. And of course, TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, where your first workout is free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, no workout ever recycled or repeated. Just the best workout in Nashville, conveniently located in the Gulch. TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free. All right, so there's a lot of different things to dive into, a lot of different things to dissect about your draft class. And in fact, you're going to hear from some of the members of your draft class here in just a second. But the thing that I was, you're always looking for different ways or different perspectives to talk about these players, to study these players, to kind of provide you guys with as much information as humanly possible about the players that your team has added now that you actually have them on the roster. I know they haven't officially signed their rookie deals or anything like that, but there are a great many different ways that you can really expand your knowledge of these things now that you know the names that are actually going to be a part of your football team in 2025. So Field Yates, who's a great NFL draft analyst, been doing it for a long time for ESPN, obviously worked in the league prior to going into media, had an article up on ESPN.com. It's behind their ESPN Plus paywall, but fortunately for you all, I have an ESPN Plus subscription. So he went through and he picked his favorite draft choices from each round. And he came up with a pretty substantive list of all the different players across the NFL that he really liked and their landing spots. He also had a bonus section for unrestricted free agents that, ironically enough, the Titans also appeared in as well. Now, you might be able to guess which UDFA Field Yates liked that landed with the Titans, but there's a couple of different things that you were able to learn about the value proposition of the players that were added and specifically where they were added. So the question that I have for you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section, if you would like to participate here tonight, is this: how many of the Titans 2025 draft class, there's 9 total players beyond the UDFAs, but I'm talking specifically the draft picks, how many of those 9 do you think contribute in a meaningful way in year one? We will discuss at length together because you have a lot of options to choose from. Obviously, you're going to be able to at least say one because Cam Ward did not get drafted number 1 overall to not start for the Tennessee Titans in 2025. The rest of it, though, is a pretty interesting case study. And all right, how much better are the players that the Titans just added compared to the players who are currently in those starting roles or slated to be starters in those roles that are incumbents upon the roster? It's a difficult question to answer because obviously the new guys, they've never played in the NFL. Whatever the current Titans roster configuration is, or the previous Titans roster configuration is, those guys at least have NFL experience, and that does matter in a substantial way. So question again is how many of them are going to contribute in a meaningful way in 2025. We'll talk about it together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, where, like I said, employee pricing for everyone is what they are currently offering you because they always make the car buying process fast, easy, and fun. They always go above and beyond to make sure you're getting the level of customer service that you've come to expect. You pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot, and at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. No up pricing, no adding on expensive accessories or tacking on service packages to drive up the price. Two Rivers is upfront and honest every single time, and they are offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy American, and there's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, home of employee pricing for everyone For America, from America, Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. All right, so how many of your 2025 draftees do you think will contribute in a meaningful way in year one? And this is an interesting question to answer. In fact, I see one person has the correct answer, but I'll let you hear from a couple of these players and Mike Borgonzi before I get to the way that I would answer this question. So Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker. By the way, Chad Brinker's on the radio show tomorrow morning. I don't know if he is going to Zoom in or if he is going to call in. I know he's busy tomorrow to come into the studio, but hopefully we'll be able to get him to Zoom in and you can talk to you can hear from your president of football operations about a larger overview of the scouting process and everything that they were able to put together. So we're looking forward to Chad Brinker being on the show at I think right off the top at 10 o'clock. And then Brian Callahan's going to give a press conference. A couple of the free agents are going to speak. A couple of the incumbent players are going to speak. So we will carry press conferences for you in the noon hour and Chad Brinker on at 10 a.m. or just after 10 a.m. So should be a good time. But anyway, Brinker, Borgonzi, they gave a post-draft recap press conference. You know this by now on Monday. And they talked a great deal about the class having upside while also acknowledging, these guys are going to contribute in a meaningful way, no matter how much potential or how much more work they have to do before they're refined NFL football players.
How early in the process did you kind of land on favoring the developmental types over maybe some pro-ready types? And can you kind of talk through why favoring one over the other?
Well, like I said, they all have developmental, things that they have to go through here. But then once you start getting into the mid to later rounds and some of these guys, you're looking at some traits, speed at the receiver position with Ellick and DK, and Marcus Harris is a guy that played really one big year of football at Cal. But you saw the traits on film, the quick twitch athlete that can develop. And the same thing with Mullings, too. You're looking at a guy that played linebacker for 2 years when he first came in, and really last year was really his first really workload of carrying the football. But you saw a big body there that runs hard, and you saw a lot of upside with him, and we were able to get him later on the 6th.
So that is Mike Borgonzi talking about the upside and the potential of this draft class. And the question that we've posed to you guys is, how many of these dudes do you think will meaningfully contribute in year one? Steven Rodriguez on Facebook Live says Ward, Winston Jr., and Eric A. Well, it's not Eric, it's Ellick, but, I understand Ellick A. Ellick Manor. I-O Manor, like, the palatial rising manor or something like that. I don't know. Do you know anybody that lives in a manor? Maybe not in this day and age. I don't know how many people are describing their estates as manor, because we always refer to this place as the palatial rising estate here in Germantown. But I am, it's going to be a pretty easy thing to get once you get the routine of Ellick I-O Manor. Shouldn't be too hard. It's like Kevin Palm Field. Went through a whole offseason of Kevin Palm Field, only for him to not play hardly at all. Played one game, started one game. The Houston Texans game where Blaine Gabbert started in like week 2 after Marcus blew out his elbow in Miami. But we don't need to relitigate that. You are talking about players that you think are going to contribute right away or meaningfully contribute right away. So you've gone with Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State in the 3rd round, and Ellick Manor, the 4th round, the second of the 4th round selections that the Titans had at wide receiver specifically. Okay, Lewis Chesney says only one, Gunner, and he's not even going with Cam Ward. He's saying Gunner Helm, the tight end out of Texas. Byron Charles says 4 to 6 of them. Benjamin Buck says it's so hard to say with rookies. But the idea, it's a bit of a trap question, to be honest with you, because it's not hard to say in the NFL. The answer to the question is all of them. All of them are going to contribute in a meaningful way. Think about every rookie draft class that you've ever had. Now, maybe not all of them turned out to be starters, and very rarely have they turned out to be good. But even when the Titans have not had good draft classes, more often than not, all of these dudes contribute in a meaningful way. Special teams, defensive packages, offensive personnel sets that are specifically installed for them to get on the field, to get experience, to get reps, to get the just general feel of the game, the environment, the quarterback cadence, all the different things. So it's a bit of a cop-out to say all of them, but they're all going to play in a meaningful way as long as they're available during the season. Ben Hall says, isn't Helm instantly the biggest tight end on the roster? No. He's not. He's not bigger than, he's not taller than Wiley. I don't know if he weighs more than Wiley, but he's definitely not taller than Wiley. Wiley's like 6'7". Gunnar Helm, let me pull up Greg Cosell's handy dandy prospect evaluations. Gunnar Helm's height and weight is, this is Chimere DK. Helm was after DK. There he is. 6'5", 241. So yeah, Wiley's got 2 inches on him. I don't know if he weighs more. He's probably, I'd be surprised if Wiley, let me look up Josh Wiley's measurables real quick. Because that is a good question. He may be physically stouter or more stout. Yeah, well, actually, Wiley weighs more, but he's got 2 inches on, or at least he's listed as weighing more. Wiley is listed at 6'7", 248. So no, Gunnar Helm is not the biggest tight end on the roster. Jolin Samuel says, Iamaner said his comp is A.J. Brown pre-draft. Well, I wish he wouldn't have done that because that's stupid. And nobody is A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is absolutely him. And Alec Iamaner, while I appreciate his optimism, I appreciate his confidence, I have also appreciate his game. I would not compare myself to A.J. Brown. That's like comparing yourself to Julio Jones or Justin Jefferson or, that's stupid. Don't do that. Don't, especially here. Don't do that. Because A.J. Brown, even though he wasn't a first-round pick, he was a second-round pick, and Iamaner was a fourth-rounder for a couple of different reasons. Curtis says, well, now I believe Alec will be the next A.J. Well, that's stupid. Don't do that. I think that when you talk about the different rookies that are going to contribute, think about this. Ward's definitely going to play right away. They'll have him in competition, but he'll be the starting quarterback come week 1. And somebody brings up, Eric Alonso brings up, Burks was also supposed to be the next A.J. Brown. Look how that worked out for you. Femi Oladejo is probably going to play. He's probably going to play special teams. He's probably going to play in certain defensive packages as a pass rusher. He can drop into coverage as well, which gives him additional versatility. Kevin Winston Jr. is probably going to play. You have safety needs. You did sign Xavier Woods. He's a solid player. There's nothing to say that Kevin Winston Jr. can't beat Xavier Woods out for the starting job. Squeeze Mike Brown out for the third safety job. Chimere DK, I think, is going to get on the field in certain situations. I think Iamaner is going to get on the field in certain situations. I think Gunnar Helm is no worse than their second best tight end right out of the gate. I think he's a more well-rounded prospect and more versatile prospect than, maybe not than Chig. I think Chig's pretty versatile, but Chig also has some deficiencies to his game where you can't leave him on the field all the time, and any tight end is going to be overmatched in blocking situations. It's just how much effort they give, how good their technique is. Jackson Slater, maybe Jackson Slater doesn't play, right? Maybe Jackson Slater, if the Titans' offensive line is completely healthy the whole way through, then maybe Jackson Slater doesn't play. But I'm going to assume that one of these offensive linemen, specifically the interior guys, are going to miss a game at some point in time or miss some snaps, and that Jackson Slater, the 6th-round pick or the 5th-round pick out of Sacramento State at the FCS level, I'm going to assume he's going to get in on the action too. So there's a lot of different things that this draft class brings to the table. And while they might not be outright better NFL players than the guys that they're coming in to the same locker room with, they will be able to contribute, hopefully develop, and then become better NFL players than the guys who are currently on the roster. Jolin says jumbo package for, you wouldn't put him on the jumbo package. You'd put somebody like Jalen Dunk. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's not a tackle though. He's definitively a guard or a center. He's not got bad size. He's what, 6'3"? Let's double check his measurables here. He is 6'3", 311. So he's not petite by any stretch of the imagination. He's not Aaron Brewer, but I would imagine that Duncan or like Ojukwu or one of these other offensive linemen that they brought in will be your jumbo package offensive line set, unless he can catch, and then, maybe you get a little tricky with it. But that is way, way too ahead of time. M-Dog Move says, y'all been saying Chig is going to break out forever. Who said that? I didn't say that. In fact, I like Chig the person. I think Chig is a fascinating individual. I wish Chig was more consistent as a playmaker. And I wish that Chig would come on earlier in the season rather than the second half of the season where I don't know. It just feels like when Chig starts producing when the games don't matter. And I don't know if that's something that I can quantifiably assign to Chig. I don't know what the situation is there, but I would like him to be a better, more well-rounded football player because I think that he's certainly got athletic potential, but you guys are sick of athletic potential at this point in time. Joe Blacko says terrible quarterback play doesn't help. Yeah, but I mean, yes, you are of course correct, but also you are not so it's not like Chig's playing perfect football out there and the quarterbacks just start getting him the ball. Like Chig has left a lot to be desired. Now, could Chig be better if his quarterbacks were better? Of course that is the case. But it's kind of been this slow decline where you had Delaney, and Delaney was a certain type of tight end, and Delaney was the best version of that tight end. And then you got Jonnu Smith, who's supposed to be Delaney Walker Light. And Delaney Walker Light, he was. I mean, he was a good playmaker for a period of time. He actually ended up being a better playmaker for the Dolphins down the stretch. But Jonnu wasn't a bad player, and you ultimately let him walk in free agency. And then you got down to Chig, who's supposed to be Jonnu Light, and it's never really manifested quite that way. So you've had a type at the tight end position. All three of those guys. Well, I guess Delaney wouldn't have been a J-Rob guy. Delaney would have been a Rustin Webster guy. Was he even the GM? But who was the GM before Rustin Webster? My memory is going blank there. I'm pretty sure he was a Rustin Webster guy, though. I don't think he was there before with the GM before Rustin Webster. I can't think of the name. Anyway, so with everything that you've got going on right now, I think all of these rookies are going to contribute in a meaningful way because, except again, with the exception of maybe Jackson Slater, I think that these guys are all going to be forced into action, whether it be because of injury, because somebody else isn't performing correctly. Any manner of things could come up. Suspension. We don't know what's going on with L'Jarius Sneed. I'm sure questions will be asked when L'Jarius Sneed becomes available to media to that effect, but we'll have plenty of time to dive into that more later. The Primetime Show, if you want to dive into anything, if you want to dive into what you deserve to be paid, Bart Durham Injury Law is there to help you with big truck automobile accidents, with just general automobile accidents, with personal injury that you've sustained. They are there to walk you through the process to make sure that you are seeing the full value of what your injury is worth. Bart Durham Injury Law has done this for people in Tennessee and Kentucky for over 75 years, and they can do this for you too because you deserve to be paid. If you've been in one of these situations, they will give you an overview of their case results. They will also help you understand the full scope of their practice. You can even get a free consultation online right now at bartdurham.com today. All right, so upside and value that you have. Field Yates had this list of Titans players, or not just of Titans players, but of, as I mentioned, his favorite picks in every round. So as you go through the first round, two of them were in the AFC South, but neither of them were the Titans. He loved his favorite pick at the top of round one was Travis Hunter to the Jags. His second favorite pick was Tyler Warren to the Colts. Then Greg Zabel, the offensive, Gray Zabel, I keep wanting to call him Greg. Gray Zabel, the guard to Seattle. Donovan Jackson, the guard to Minnesota. Jahad Campbell to the Eagles at the end of the first round. Then you get into round two. He cites the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Lions, and the Raiders as having meaningful additions. And then the Titans appear as one of his favorite third-round picks. Kevin Winston Jr., and he writes, it's impossible to state precisely where Winston would have been drafted if he didn't tear an ACL in September, but it definitely would have been sooner than this. The 6'2", 205-pound safety has undergone a fast recovery. Just 6 months after his ACL repair surgery, Winston ran a 4.5 in the 40-yard dash at Penn State's Pro Day. I add parenthetically, Abdul Carter did not even run a 40-yard dash dealing with his injury, but Kevin Winston, coming off a torn ACL, did just that and did it well. He appears to be on track as an early contributor for Tennessee, and I would agree with that. If you had to make me pick one player outside of Cam Ward who I think will play the most snaps in 2025, Kevin Winston Jr. feels like a pretty safe bet.
At that point, how big of a value add was Kevin Winston to be able to find him in the third?
Yeah, it was a big value because really, before, the injury, he was, at the top of the second round for us. He's one of the top safeties in the draft. He's going to be fine. He had the injury early on in the season, and we were fortunate enough to get him there at that spot.
So that was the question I asked Mike Borgonzi, and as you heard him say, they had him graded out at the top of the second round, and that was with the injury. Nick Saban, apparently on the draft coverage, said that he believes if Kevin Winston Jr. would have played last season, that he would have been a first-round pick. No way to really entertain that hypothetical, but again, if you're talking about value added, getting that guy at pick number 82 when he could have been a first-round pick, and the Titans even had him graded out at the top of the second, that's a really nice value add. Now, Field also cites two more Titans players, one that was drafted and one that went as a UDFA. He cites Iomanner. Tennessee added 3 pass catchers for number 1 pick Cam Ward early on day 3, but Iomanner was my favorite pick of them all. I had a third-round grade on him because he has one of the best combination of size and speed in this receiver class. His ability to separate at the top of routes downfield pairs well with Ward, who threw 12 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions on throws of 20-plus air yards in 2024. So they like the pairing of big play Cam Ward, off of script Cam Ward, and Iomanner in the mix with that. And then he added as a bonus selection that his favorite UDFA signing was Xavier Restrepo going to the Titans. He writes, I had an affinity for Restrepo in the pre-draft process, though his draft stock plummeted after the 40-yard dash of around 4.8 seconds at Miami's Pro Day. But what he lacks in top-end physical tools, he makes up for in route running, consistency, play strength, and clutch production, all of which are traits that the Titans, I add parenthetically, again, could use. Now he's reuniting with his college quarterback in Tennessee. Ward helped Restrepo become Miami's all-time leading receiver in receptions and yards this past season. So a lot of good value added. Fieldgate's very high on the players that you were able to add into the mix. And before I let you hear from Mike Borgonzi again on the pass catchers, I'm going to remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people, the fantastic people, the great people at TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. You go to TrueMavFitness.com, you get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. Just the best quality group fitness classes, personal training, an awesome facility if you just want to work out on your own time and on your own schedule. TrueMavFitness.com, your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. All right, so all of the different value adds that you got in this draft class doesn't mean that you're going to be a playoff team or compete for the division or sniff a wild card spot, whatever, but you are making strides in that general direction. And that is something that you are going to ultimately see the dividends of at some point in time when these guys get more experience under their belt. These are the type of football players, this draft class, besides Cam Ward, these are the type of football players who become good football players in like 2 to 3 years, right? That's kind of what they're banking on. The potential that they have, the athletic upside, combined with the work ethic that they feel like they've identified, the football character that they think they've identified to contribute in a meaningful way and to realize that potential, right? Isaiah Wilson had potential. Treylon Burks, Caleb Farley had potential. None of them realized their potential, and all 3 of them were different situations, but still, that is what this group, this front office structure feels that they have identified specifically in the 2025 draft class. Speaking of installation, because Titan, just says Titan on YouTube, says installed a lot of good character as well. They're trying to rebuild the culture, right? It's not just about rebuilding the product on the field. It's rebuilding the product in the locker room because, I don't know, they've felt broken to me for at least a year. There's just a huge void in the amount of locker room leadership that I'm accustomed to seeing from Tennessee Titans teams and what I got last year, which was just a bunch of dudes that didn't feel like they had direction or identity, or not to say that they lacked football character or anything like that, but I don't know. It didn't work with the combination of players that they had last year. Now they're adding Cam Ward into the mix with some guys that they feel like have some juice, some former team captains and things like that, to try and continue to build up that leadership group, to round out that locker room group. And I think that is something that is desperately needed. Is desperately needed. Trey Phipps says at Jeff Simmons. I mean, it's not. I guess, yeah. And Ocho says Big Jeff was supposed to be leader. I think Jeff is, but I just, I don't want him. I just don't think it's like what I'm looking for from him comes naturally to him. Jeff is the hype man. Jeff is make plays on the field. And as long as you're a playmaker, right, guys will follow you. And Jeff is a playmaker for sure. But I don't know. Jeff, rah-rah, break down the tunnel guy, growl, grunt, yell, snort, all these different things. Like that to me, I don't know. You just need more than that. You need somebody who's got command of the room. And while I think, I know that Jeff's teammates respect him, or at least as far as I know, Jeff's teammates respect him. I just think that Cam Ward brings a different element of leadership that you need. I also think Levis left something significantly to be desired, because once he started to spiral, and it's understandable why his body language and his, persona struggled after he started to struggle. He just got into his own head about it. And that was that. But, the quarterback needs to be made of stronger stuff, right? And Cam Ward is definitely made of, as Rand Carthon put it about Tajay Spears, he's just made of the right shit, That's just what it is. Michael Wagner says, Jeff is Lewan on defense. We need Ben Jones to lead the offensive line. So I do like that as a comparison, right? Taylor, maybe he's not the kind of leader you wanted Taylor Lewan to be, but Taylor had leadership qualities. Taylor had respect. Taylor performed at a high level for a period of time before the knee stuff started to really plague him. And Taylor more a hype guy than a hey, 53 on me type of guy, right? I like that comparison for what Jeff brings that Lewan also brought, but Lewan also had Delaney Walker, Jarrell Casey, Brett Kern, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. And Jeff had those guys for a period of time too, but then last year it's just Jeff, right? I mean, D-Hop was there for a period of time, but it was really just Jeff. And, we're going to talk to Peter Skoronski, who's been there for 10 minutes, and Jarvis Brownlee, who's been there for even less time, and Calvin Ridley, who's trying to figure out why the hell this football team is so bad, and trying to figure out, why people are on his ass when the quarterback play is so bad. So I think that in particular, it's not just one person that's going to be able to do it with a football locker room, because there's so many different kinds of people that you have to be able to control, or command, not control. And I just think that Jeff needs more leadership figures in that leadership group to help get the best version of this roster. It's not an easy thing to do. God knows I couldn't do it. So it's not that I'm criticizing Jeff that way. I just think that was, I know that was evident in how that team spiraled, I think, last year, because of Levis and because of other institutional requirements that the Titans locker room did not have. If that's fair. I think that's a fair statement. You guys may think that I'm taking shots. I'm really not, but that's, like I said, this will be the 9th different Titans team that I've covered, and all of them have been different. But you are able to identify themes and character and identity, and last year's team didn't have it. So I just think that's what it is. Ben Hall says, wouldn't you say Lewan was better at his position than Simmons is at his? Lewan was a Pro Bowler for 3 straight years. Looked like he was on track again in 2020 before the ACL tear. Availability, both Jeff and Lewan have not been overwhelmingly available. Like Jeff, Jeff, to his credit, he fought through that elbow injury. I know it cost him at least the Miami game. I don't know how many more games he missed outside of that. But Jeff did work his ass off to be available last year. I would say it's pretty close. I would say it's pretty close. Both of them hugely talented. Both of them, not ever the top player at their position. Actually, there was a time when you could argue for Lewan as the best left tackle in football. Mm, I don't know. Oh, Frank just squeaked at me. I don't know if you heard that. There was a time when I think Lewan was at least a top 3 player at his position. Jeff's never been that. Because there's always been Aaron Donald, there's always been Chris Jones. Quentin Williams, I think, is a better defensive tackle than Jeff at his peak. I mean, yeah, Jeff, I don't think I could have ever ranked higher than 4. And Lewan, you probably could have made the argument at one point in time for top 3, but we don't have to spin our wheels on that unnecessarily. That's very much a summer topic. Anyway, Burks is a fascinating story here. In fact, we've spent a lot of time on a lot of different subjects tonight. Perhaps we'll roll Burks to tomorrow and just get to rising and falling. Whose stock rose? Whose stock fell this week in sports? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. In the comment section, if you would like to get involved, let me know whose stock you feel rose or fell throughout the course of the last week. We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people at VIP Play. VIP Play is coming to your app store in the very near future, but I'm going to let you get in on the action early with the VIP Play app, folks. I'm going to sneeze. Maybe. Woo! All right. VIP Play will now offer 200 plus leagues to wager on and all of your favorite bet types. You've heard live now, but you have not yet experienced live always on VIP Play. They also offer you the VIP Players Club sweepstakes, where every bet you make on VIP Play gets you entries into their monthly sweepstakes. You'll earn 1 entry per bet, 1 entry per dollar bet, and 10 times your entries on parlays and same game parlays. So get ready to claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. When you make your first bet of $5 or more, you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. VIP Play app is coming soon to Tennessee exclusively. To learn more and claim your early welcome bonus or VIP Players Club status, at the VIPPlayApp.com today. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet on VIP Play. And we're looking forward to the launch of the VIP Play app. All right, whose stock rose, whose stock fell this week in sports? Ocho says, bless you. Thank you very much. Stock down, Vols baseball. I have not checked in with baseball yet. I know that they had a tough loss against LSU the other night. I know that maybe they recently had a game against Ole Miss that I heard they came out on the wrong side of. I haven't really tapped into college baseball just yet, but we're getting close to that time of year. So I'm sorry to hear that the Vols baseball team is at least on a downward turn. They're talented enough. Vitello's a good enough coach. You don't freak out too much about it. Apparently, they also lost to Kentucky. Have they lost a series, an SEC series, or are they just losing individual games at this point in time? Bert Zoo video stock up, says B French. Yes, you can go. Do you want to advocate on behalf of your Zoo video? Do you want to tell people where they can go to watch this? Honestly, I'm surprised you haven't put the Zoo video in here for people to watch.
Nah, damn, I like how little screen you have. That's nice. Yeah, go to the 104.5 The Zone YouTube page. Go to the 104.5 The Zone YouTube page, and it'll be on there. Bird at the Zoo or something like that. I can't remember what title you changed it to. NFL Draft, Cam Ward, Animals Questions.
You're welcome for the extra 500 views you wouldn't have gotten.
No, it was all me. Got it out the mud. Go watch the Zoo video.
All right. So there is Robert Walsh. You can go check out his Zoo video. It was very well done. Bert was the star of the show. And it pains me to admit that in front of him. All right. Stock up, though, or I'm not sure if this is a rising or falling candidate. I don't know what we have below here, but we're going to find out together. What is this, Robert? That is Puka Nakua's brother, Samson Nakua, a wide receiver of the UFL team, the Michigan Panthers, slapping the shit out of a fan who was chirping at him in the stands. Stock down that fan, stock up Samson Nakua. I think more fans should be slapped if they exhibit behavior towards the professional athletes that is untoward. I love that video for a variety of different reasons. Somebody pointed out to me today that I got very upset about Jax Ulbrich, the son of Jeff Ulbrich, prank calling Shedeur Sanders and stealing Shedeur Sanders' number from his dad's iPad. And in the meantime, also advocating for fans to be slapped if they mouth off to players. So I can take both sides of the argument. I can keep the same energy for both, but it very much made me laugh. So Samson Nakua stock up, that dipshit fan stock down. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight here on the Primetime Show. Have a great rest of your evening. 1045thezone.com is where you go to get tickets. Like I said, I have your entire draft class draft evals here from Greg Cosell. Greg went through all 9 picks, gave me evaluations for each of them. We are going to have these at the tables for you guys when Brian Callahan and Greg Cosell break down the 2025 Titans free agents and NFL draft class. In fact, like I said, I was texting Callahan earlier today. He was giving me suggestions on plays, specific Cam Ward plays to poll. He's really excited. In fact, the last text that he sent me was this afternoon. Awesome. Thanks for all that. Looking forward to it. Should be a fun evening of talking ball. So your head coach is fired up about it. Go get your tickets at 1045thezone.com. We'll see you Friday. Like I said, there were about 30 tickets left as of this morning. I don't know how many people bought tickets today. Get your tickets now. 1 day or 2 days, I guess, technically, but really 1 day left before the actual event goes down. Bert just dropped the link in the live stream chat. You get draft evals, you get Greg Cosell, you get Brian Callahan, you get a full bar, you get Hattie B's hot chicken. You're going to have so many great things as a part of this live show. And like I said, I'm going to do the hardest thing in the world. It's the hardest show in the world for me to do every year because it's the show that I have to say the least at. That's really, really difficult for me to do. But I think it's the best show that we do all year long. And it's going to be a great time had by all. Benjamin Buck says, how many teams are sending spies to the event? That's a good question. Perhaps we'll have what's Michigan Manifesto's name? Connor Stallions. Perhaps we'll have a Connor Stallions of the Houston Texans in the audience. But, we won't find out that until after the fact. And then we'll have a whole what do you call it? Investigation after the fact. Maybe Bill Belichick and his girlfriend will show up. You never know. Not that. Just Brian Callahan, Greg Cosell. Robert wants to get involved because he's riding high off all this zoo clout that he thinks he has. He wants to get involved in the show. A lot of our friends, almost everybody from 1045 The Zone is going to be there. So if you're a big fan of the radio station, not just the stuff that we do, you're going to have a great time with all kind of cool people. They're going to be hanging out Friday, May the 2nd. The Analog Room, the Hutton Hotel. Tickets available, 1045thezone.com. See you guys tomorrow morning. Chad Brinker on the radio show, 10 a.m. Titans press conferences at noon. We'll carry them live. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys then.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville. Go home!